This video is on adding and subtracting prisms. This is part 2 of my prism orientation video. I highly recommend you watch part 1 of my prism orientation video. You probably won't understand this video unless you watch part 1, so I'll provide a link to the upper right side of this video. You can click on and watch that video. Okay, so let's begin. So I have 2 prisms over here, 2 prisms, and I marked the base. The base is in red. 2 prisms. So let's start with 2 prism diopters base out in both eyes. So let's say you have a prism base out in the right eye and a prism base out in the left eye. Since the prisms are pointing in opposite directions, the right eye, they're pointing this way, right? In the left eye, they're pointing in the other direction, this way. In this case, if you have 2 base out in both eyes, let's say you have base out, let's say you have 1 base out in the right eye and 1 base out in the left eye, then you have to add them. But if prisms are facing in the same direction, so let me reverse this. I'm going to spin the prism in the left eye around. Try to do that. There it goes. So if you have this, then you have to subtract them, because the prisms are facing in the same direction. Both prisms are pointing in this direction. They're pointing in this direction. So for example, if you have 1 base out in the right eye, and the left eye is 1 base in the left eye. So you have to subtract them. In this case, the total prism diopter is 0. 0 prism diopters. This is equivalent to prescribing no prisms at all. So in this case, because the prisms are pointing in the same direction, they're both pointing in this direction here, then you have to subtract them. Let's do another example. Let's say you have prisms like this here. Let me spin the right eye around. Okay, let me spin the right eye around. Okay, so now the prisms are facing in opposite direction. They're pointing in opposite direction. So the right eye is pointing this way, and the left eye is pointing this way. So then you have to add them. So let's say again, you say you have 1 base in the right eye and 1 base in the left eye. It will be a total of 2 prism diopters total. Now, let's say I'm going to spin the prism in the left eye. So let's do this. Now, since they're pointing in the same direction, you have to subtract them. So now they're both pointing in this direction here. And let's say you have 1 base in the right eye and 1 base out in the left eye. Then you have to subtract them. So this is equivalent to prescribing no prisms at all. This is another example. Let me do another example. Let's do base down in both eyes. So this is base down in both eyes. So again, you have to subtract them. And then if you have, let's say, base up in the right eye, base down in the left eye, you have to add them. So if they're pointing in the opposite directions, you add the prisms. If they're pointing in the same direction, you subtract the prisms. This is very important. You have to know this in order to prescribe prisms, and hopefully this video helps you.